But first, here is my take for today entitled The Bodies of EFCC versus Achimugu and the Sanwo-Olu Sidebar. Let me start this way. There are times in our fight against corruption when the scorecard looks quite impressive. Big numbers, big headlines, big forfeitures. But then you look at the game itself and something still feels unfinished. Now, let's give credit where credit is due. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has been busy, and we must acknowledge that. The courts have granted the EFCC final forfeiture orders on money and assets reasonably suspected to be proceeds of crime. Here is the scorecard. $7 million, that is 11.2 billion naira cash, physical cash, found dumped curiously in the vaults of Providus Bank in Victoria Island, Lagos. There has been a final forfeiture on September 15, 2025 regarding that physical cash by Justice Emeka Nwite. Deposited March 25 and 27, 2025, linked to Ocean Gate Engineering Oil and Gas Company and linked to Mrs. Aisha Achimugu, a name that we are hearing a lot about lately. And then another $13 million, also allegedly linked to companies connected to Mrs. Achimugu. Final forfeiture of that, March 2026. Over 50 billion in properties and assets linked to former Attorney General Abubakar Malami, SAN, 2023 to 2024. Mansions in Abuja, in Kano, in Sokoto, hotels, companies. 53 million in cash and properties worth over 80 billion linked to former CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele. 2024, hotels in Lagos, estates in Abuja, plazas in Delta State. Now, let's look at it. If this becomes the new normal, if we start taking back the proceeds of corruption consistently, fairly, whether from people in government or people out of government, then we may be looking at a real game changer in this fight against corruption. Because the idea is very simple. Take the money first, ask the questions later. Dispossess the crooks before the case drags for 10 years. Done properly, this could restore faith in a fight that, frankly, in my view, is about the soul of our country. But, and this is a big but, every big wins comes with big questions. And right now, the biggest question has Aisha Achimugu's name written all over it. So let's hear our case out first. On Wednesday, 2 days ago, Mrs. Achimugu comes out swinging. She accused EFCC of, and I'm quoting now, oppression, character assassination, intimidation, and the deliberate dissipation of my lawfully acquired personal property, unquote. She said our reputation was being dragged, our businesses were suffering, and she was asking for, and I quote, protection for my life, my children, my privacy, and an end to this media trial, unquote. This was not the first time. Back in April 2026, on Channels TV here, she told us, and I'm quoting her, I am an entrepreneur. My money did not come from Sanwo-Olu. I started my business in 2001, unquote. And on the rates, this was what she said, they only found $50,000 and $30 million, and that belonged to my mother, unquote. All right, we've heard you, ma'am. Now, can we ask a few questions? Because there is one transaction that is still hanging in the air. $7 million in cash, not paid into an account, just dumped at Providus Bank, according to reports. The court has now said, forfeit that money. But the press statements have not stopped. And so if you are truly being harassed, and this is directly speaking to Mrs. Achimugu, then the court is where you should go. Sue EFCC. That is how you clear your name. Don't just talk about it in the media. Go to court. Now, here is the matter. Plain and simple. EFCC says the money was moved, quoting them, under suspicious circumstances. According to reports, the bank staff who raised the alarm said it was brought in on behalf of the managing director of Ocean Gate. And so Mrs. Achimugu's reported explanation is, now I'm quoting, it was a loan repayment to Providus Bank, unquote. Now, with due respect, that story is a bit tenuous. Who pays a $7 million loan in cash in one fell swoop? Who does it in that kind of a rush without the bank crediting an account? Which bank collects that kind of money and does not file a suspicious transaction report? And if it was the legitimate money that Mrs. Achimugu made, why did nobody show up to claim that money when EFCC published notices in September 2025? You see, madam, these are not insults. These are questions. And until they are answered, the doubts will only grow. Now, but EFCC is not off the hook either. If the men and officials of EFCC have been harassing Mrs. Achimugu as she's alleging, if due process was thrown out the window, then EFCC must own that and discipline the people involved. Otherwise, EFCC should respond to the allegations that Mrs. Achimugu has laid 2 days ago. We must presume Achimugu innocent until proven guilty, because we as a people cannot fight corruption with corruption. That will defeat the entire purpose. So what is the way forward? We celebrate the forfeitures of EFCC, yes, but we don't get drunk on them. Seizure is not personal conviction. So EFCC must finish the job, charge, prosecute, get judgment for Nigeria's stolen patrimony. That's what we want. And then the Achimugu case, like Malami's, like Emefiele's before it, cannot end on the pages of newspapers. Nigerians need to know, was this crime or is this an overreach? In the end, this matter will be decided in two places. One, in the court of law, with evidence, with law, and with facts. Two, it will also be determined in the court of public opinion, with transparency, with conduct, and with trust. Now, quickly, let's talk about the Governor Sanwo-Olu sidebar. January 2024, Grenada. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu attends Mrs. Achimugu's 7-day birthday extravaganza. Since then, the blogs have had a field day. In April, she was asked directly, did the money come from Sanwo-Olu right here in Channels? Her answer, not at all. Technically, that's a denier. Politically, she also reminded us that she's been in power circles long before she met Governor Sanwo-Olu. Now, I can tell you this. The people in the state government in Lagos, Alausa, did not like that framing one bit. They said it sounds belittling of the governor. She's saying, I have been on power circles before Governor Sanwo-Olu. It seems Governor Sanwo-Olu may yet regret that trip to Grenada. That, my people, is the burden of leadership. The people you hang out with will define you. When you hang out in controversial circumstances and it goes out, you will live with it for a long time. For good or for ill. And so as we close, we say, well done to EFCC on Malami, well done to EFCC on Emefiele, and well done on Achimugu. Now, EFCC should finish these matters in court. Mrs. Achimugu, you deserve to be heard on the allegations of harassment, but you must also be ready to explain plainly what happened to the $7 million in court and also in the public opinion. And to everyone in power listening to us, be careful of the bad days that you attend. In Nigeria of 2026, the cake is cheap, but the aftermath is what is very, very expensive. You just ask Governor Sanwo-Olu. And there you have it. Inside Sources goes food blast right after this.